So like a lot of people, I saw Iron Lung this week, and since everybody's talking about it, I figured I would whore myself out to the engagement gods and talk about it too. I walked out of the movie feeling kind of weird. Not angry or disappointed, but not really blown away either. I'm glad I saw it, but I'm also getting the feeling that I did not get the full experience. Which I guess is kind of on brand for a movie about being trapped in a metal coffin at the bottom of an ocean of blood, but let's talk about why. Iron Lung is Markiplier's passion project. Self-financed, self-directed, self-starring, based on the indie horror game of the same name. And just to be upfront, I have not played the game, which might explain some of what I'm about to talk about. But the setup is simple. The universe is cooked, stars and habitable planets are gone, humanity is basically hanging on by a thread. So naturally they do what humans always do when they're out of good options. They strap a convict into a submarine and say, go on a suicidal mission and maybe you get to live. That's the movie. You're not hopping locations, you're not getting constant cutaways, you're locked in there with the prisoner. One setting, one job, one long descent into madness. And right away the movie makes a promise. This is going to be claustrophobic, oppressive, and uncomfortable. So the real question becomes, does it actually pull that off? And for me, yeah, it did. The first half is slow, like really slow. And I'm not going to pretend that it doesn't drag in places, because it does. But I didn't mind as much as I thought I would. I usually like slow burn movies, but this movie does something very smart early on. It lets the environment do a lot of the talking. The visuals are tight and grimy, the cramped framing, the harsh lighting, metal and shadow, long stretches of silence with nothing but breathing and machinery to interrupt it. There's a montage of Simon, the main character, navigating the ocean, taking photos, crunching numbers, adjusting systems. It's very clearly an homage to the gameplay loop, and honestly, I really liked that part. It felt hypnotic and oppressive, like watching someone slowly lose their grip in real time. It's not exciting, but it is effective. The problem is, the movie keeps doing that, and eventually the slow burn stops feeling like tension and starts feeling like inertia. Because the second half of the movie doesn't just escalate, it stacks on top of itself. More voices, more ideas, more intensity, and not all of it gets the space it needs to land clearly. Things start overlapping, dialogue comes in fast, filters get heavier, the pace ramps up, but the clarity doesn't always keep up. And that leads directly into my biggest issue with the film. Because once things really kick off, the movie starts asking you to emotionally react to information you don't always fully get. I do want to be clear here because this is important. The sound design for the film is fantastic. The ambience, the creaks, the distant mechanical noises, that stuff all works. It sells the isolation, it sells the dread, it makes the sub feel like it's barely holding together. Where it stumbles, especially near the end, is clarity. There are moments where there are multiple voices overlapping and filters stacking on top of each other, and the mix gets so dense that you tend to lose the thread of what's actually being communicated. It feels like it's trying to go for a cool, cosmic horror, you're not meant to understand this kind of thing, but what you end up getting is that there's information that clearly matters, and you can't fully parse it, so you feel like you're missing out. That's a tough balance to strike because the confusion is part of the vibe, but when the movie wants you to react emotionally to dialogue you can't clearly hear, it kind of starts working against itself. It doesn't ruin the movie, but it does pull you out at moments where you should be leaning in, which makes the next part even more important, because when everything else gets noisy, the movie leans hard on the performance at its center. And this is where Iron Lung surprised me the most. Going in, I was worried. I was worried that I was going to see Markiplier in a submarine for an hour and a half or however long the runtime was. That didn't happen. I bought him completely. My suspension of disbelief was never broken just because he's a popular internet personality. He disappears into the role way more than I was expecting, and the movie is better for it. This doesn't feel like a YouTube performance, it feels like genuine, really good acting. He carries long stretches of silence, panic, frustration, and exhaustion without needing constant dialogue or theatrics. And in a movie where you're watching one guy in a metal box slowly unravel, that's not always easy. Honestly, the movie works as well as it does because of him. Whether the story lands for you or not, his performance is the backbone, and I'd easily call it the strongest element of the film. And the fact that it works so well makes the next part even more noticeable. The movie looks good. The submarine set is practical and claustrophobic and convincing. It feels heavy, gross. It feels like something you absolutely don't want to be trapped inside. And the limited CGI, especially for a self-financed project, is way more competent than I was expecting. There are a couple of rough moments near the end, sure, but nothing that completely breaks immersion. It doesn't look cheap, it looks restrained. A lot of the shots are framed really smartly, clearly hiding budget limitations without feeling cheap or lazy, and honestly, the visuals are a big reason why I'm still glad I saw the movie, even if the second half lost me for a bit. So if the acting works, and the visuals work, and the premise works, why didn't it fully land for me? I think the game really matters here, because Iron Lung as a movie feels like it's made for people who already understand the rhythm of the game. If you've played it, the repetition feels intentional, the slow pacing feels earned, the ambiguity feels like part of the experience. Watching it without that context, I could appreciate the craft and respect the ambition, but I didn't fully emotionally connect with the payoff. It felt like I was missing a layer. Not because the movie failed outright, but because it's translating a very specific kind of experience that doesn't automatically carry over if you didn't already live in that world. Which is why my takeaway isn't really this sucks or this rules, but more that it's a cool, uncomfortable movie that I think I almost loved. So did I like Iron Lung? Yeah, mostly. The first half really hooked me, the second half lost me, and by the end, I feel like I admired it more than I felt it. But I'm still really glad it exists. It takes a lot of risks, it doesn't play safe, it commits to being uncomfortable. And that alone is more interesting than most modern horror movies that are terrified that you'll get bored and want to check your phone. If you're a Markiplier fan or you played the game, you'll probably get more out of this than I did. And even if you didn't, or you're not, at the very least you're going to get some damn good visuals of a man having the worst submarine shift in human history. Okay, bye. Hey guys, I want to say thanks again for watching the whole video. If you did, please leave a like and a comment if you enjoyed it, or maybe hit the subscribe button and you can see more content like this. I upload a new video about once every couple of weeks. I hope to see you around. Thanks.